Today we are taking a look at the X56 hands-on throttle and stick, a joystick that was released by Logitech a number of years ago, but is it still worth it in 2020? Let's get into it. So, a HOTAS, hands-on throttle and stick, the perfect companion for any flight or space sim enthusiast. And the X56 has been around for a number of years. It's a fan favourite, no doubt, and includes, as you would expect, a separate throttle and a separate joystick. Now, the construction of this device is all plastic. It is made of very durable, very quality feeling plastic, but there is no metal to be seen here at all. The grip of the throttle and the grip of the joystick have a nice rubberized textured feel to them, and the joystick supports 3 axes of rotation. That includes roll and pitch on the main axis of the joystick, but the handle twists as well, which also supports you're in your spaceship or aircraft. It's a ball and socket joystick, which means it doesn't transition smoothly through the center of the joystick. It does include different springs with different tension so that you can add or remove resistance depending on your particular preference. And notwithstanding the central point of the joystick, the rest of the movement is pretty uniform throughout. The handle is detachable, and I think that's largely to do with the way that Logitech want to pack and ship this device. It does feel like an opportunity lost that there could have been replacement grips from your favorite type of aircraft, but they've never chosen to do that. And there are a myriad of buttons available on the joystick, including 3 4-way hats of differing shapes, so they're easy to distinguish, 5 momentary triggers, including 2 for your pinky, and there is also an analog stick where your thumb rests on the joystick. The throttle is sturdy. There's a nice, smooth and consistent tension throughout the movement of the throttle, and that tension is adjustable, which is a nice feature. And again, lots of switches available here too, including 2 4-way hats, 1 2-way hat, 3 rotational controls, 2 of which are pressable, and 2 rotary pots as well. And again, a nice feeling analog stick for your thumb. The throttle can be separated for multi-engine jets, and for the price overall, I would say this is a pretty durable device. I've had mine for about 18 months, and I've had absolutely no problems at all. There are no creaks in the plastic. There's nothing that feels like it's going to move or give way. It's very durable and very sturdy indeed. With all of those controls laid out in a really intuitive way, they're naturally accessible. That's great for VR, where you can't see your hands, you can't see the HOTAS itself, and I was able to map every control that I needed in Elite Dangerous to buttons on the HOTAS. That's no mean feat with the sheer number of controls that need mapping in Elite Dangerous, and that included things like the Galaxy maps, the system maps, all of the menus, etc., all laid out on the HOTAS, which is absolutely great. One gripe I do have is the devices themselves feel a little light. Now, the bases are quite big, which provides some level of stability, but in particular in combat, as you move the throttle backwards and forwards, I did feel if I pushed that quite hard that the back of the base would lift up, and if I pulled it back, then the front of the base would lift up. Didn't have that problem so much with the joystick, but it is quite noticeable with the throttle itself. Now, there are holes that allow you to attach it to a metal plate or a DIY wooden construction. There are some great mounting solutions available from companies like Monster Tech, and whilst this would resolve the problem, I would honestly like to have seen a little bit more stability and a little bit more weight on a £200, $200 there or thereabouts device. I also think in comparison to Logitech's steering wheel lineup, the G29 and the G920, the construction feels a little cheap. The steering wheels have a metal construction which feels nice. They do also have force feedback via 2 motors within them. Neither of those things are available here. In fact, force feedback in the HOTAS market space is completely non-existent, which for those enthusiasts that enjoy atmospheric flight simulators, they are really missing out on something that would make the experience quite a bit more immersive. In terms of value for money, the X56 recommended retail price £219. Expect broadly the same in US dollars. You certainly shouldn't be paying any more for that. Don't let the supply and demand issues of the current pandemic and some of the escalating retailer and e-tailer prices make you make dysfunctional buying decisions. You should, in my opinion, be paying $200, £200 or less, given the length of time that this device has been out. And overall, I do think this device is worth it in 2020. There aren't really many devices competing at that price point. If you step yourself up to metal constructed devices like the Warthog, you're looking at about $350 or pounds and upwards. And if you start going for really bespokely made items like VKB as an example, then you're talking probably $450, $500 and upwards. So around about the price point of $200 for something that makes the experience ultimately far more immersive and almost a necessity actually within VR, then I do think that's worth it. And certainly if this is your first HOTAS, you could certainly consider some of the cheaper Logitech options, but for not a lot more, actually I think it's worth going up for the X56, which is better constructed with better options and a sturdier looking base on there. So undoubtedly a great joystick choice for 2020 for flight and space enthusiasts. As always, I hope you're really well wherever in the world you are. Please like and share this video, and I will see you in my next one.